everybody. I am Jessie. This is Kathy, and this is
Troy.
Welcome to Voices on Second. This is
episode 3.
Episode 3.
4.
4.
4. We're on 4.
I don't know what we posted. It's fine. It's been a week.
Yes. Episode 4.
So we met Troy yesterday at the Bridal Expo Fair. We were just vendors there.
It's technically Bridal Festival, Tammy Schneider's Bridal Festival.
Oh, is that the official name?
If you say
the
it
official
wrong.
name is what she just said.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to repeat that because there's not enough coffee in the world today to say what she just said.
You'll never get to the end of it.
I will never get to the end of it, and I will mess it up even more. So I lost my voice because we have been talking for
days.
So
much.
Mm-hmm.
So
Did you
much.
meet so many people there yesterday?
Oh yeah, I met a ton of them. Even when the brides weren't around, I was coming around talking to the other vendors.
We were vendors. We were hopping around meeting people, and Troy came, and we started just saying who we were, what we were about. Kathy started talking about the podcast, and then we found out that you used to work down here.
I did.
So come 12 hours later, here we are.
I know. We took it slow, we thought about it, and then we decided to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't do anything slow.
That's fair. All right.
We just rip off dirty Band-Aids.
Talk about the dirty Band-Aid.
Oh, that's a story is coming with the dirty Band-Aid. But anyway, so tell us a little bit about yourself,
Okay.
who you are, your history.
Okay. The reason I was at the bridal fair, we're just going to go with that, was because I am, of course, a DJ, and I specialize in weddings.
Okay.
So I was hoping to get that exposure and maybe sign some folks up.
What's the name of your official business?
Mic Master.
Mike
Nice.
Masters.
Yeah,
I like
it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I'm at my best when I have a microphone in my hand. I'm kind of wishing I had a handheld instead of a lapel, but what are you going to do? You work with the tools that you're given. Exactly.
Yeah, maybe we should get some antique microphones as a prop.
That would be amazing.
They don't do anything.
No, they don't have
to. Know that
exactly. Yes, that sounds good. That's how that would look.
Exactly.
All right. So I've been DJing for a really long time. I learned how to do it in 2007, but
Nice.
Between moving up here from Arizona and taking the time to be able to buy my own equipment instead of working for somebody who already has it, it took me quite a while to get back into it. So
it's a big investment.
Yeah, it is. So I've been in actual business now for just about 10 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
yeah, and it's fun. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
So given the opportunity, I'll do weddings all year long. I love them. I'll take one every single Saturday and irritate my wife, who'd like to spend some time with me on the weekend.
She can come with you.
That's what I keep saying. I could use a roadie. It'd be so nice.
Sparkly tux. We have a sparkly tux.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna have that conversation.
Absolutely.
So, the other thing I would tell you is I do other things. I host private trivia and karaoke parties, and I MC nonprofit fundraising events. I've done a number of those in town.
That's really cool.
It's so much fun. Like I said, once I'm up there, that's probably when I'm the most alive, honestly. Not at 9 a.m. on a Monday. I'm sorry, you're getting watered down, Troy. I apologize for that. So
We get it. We get it. Yeah, she asked me yesterday, she's like, can you do 8 o'clock? And I was like, yeah. And she just waited for it. I'm like, no.
I was like, and then Abby starts laughing. She's like, you told me. And I was like, I know.
I know. They do this. She's like, watch this. Watch what happens. She's going to say, yeah. And then she's going to realize what she just said. And it absolutely happened. I was like, yeah, of course. No, I can't. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
it's nice to hang out with people who know you.
Yeah. They're just laughing, like, whatever.
Exactly.
I would have come here at 8 a.m., but I also would have fallen asleep on the couch. And
Exactly.
that's not good entertainment at all.
I was picking up my second kid for the 4 schools that we drop off. So we drop Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We drop off at 7:45 for orchestra.
Isn't that crazy?
I don't
want
to make a big deal out of this, but I can't comprehend the amount of child things you must need to do.
Ask how many we hit on the mark.
Wait,
And-
kids?
No, no, like appointments.
Kind of what I was wondering too, yeah.
Schedule.
I was like, wait, what have you been doing?
Okay, I have not had enough coffee. I meant the schedule. How many things we make on time.
Are you 100 out of 100?
No.
No. Okay.
No. Anyway, sorry.
All right. That's okay. That's all right. I didn't have too much more. I mean, there's only so much you need to say about DJing. I play music, I talk on the microphone, and I have a great time. And if I'm doing it right, so do the
is
people I'm
everybody
working
else,
with. Yeah.
Nice.
Well,
Yeah.
that's awesome. So you said you worked downtown.
I did.
When was that?
So it was from October of 2023 until July of 2025.
Okay.
So, question, where in downtown? Because we feel a huge difference between which side of the tracks.
There is no doubt, even different areas that are close to each other can be very different. So
100%.
I worked at the Simons Block building, which is on the corner of Sprague and Howard.
Okay.
And it extends all the way up to First, and then it goes east to where it meets the Rid Path.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was the property manager there for 1.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bet you have a couple stories for us.
I might have a story or two. Yeah.
So
and,
which one stands out to you?
I mean, how do we want to get into this now?
Let's
do.
do it. We
The
like
one
to
that
get
stands
nitty-gritty.
out the most to me is when I showed up for work and there was someone laying motionless right outside the nail shop that used to be there and was unresponsive. And so I called emergency and the firemen showed up and I believe they administered a Narcan shot. Guy got up and walked away. I'm like, you're not going to take him in for observation or anything like that? And it
Yeah.
was like, no, this is pretty much how it goes. So.
Wow.
If you watch the Spokane news, we both follow it on Facebook. I think in some weekends we count just like 6, 7, boom, 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 of
6, 7.
6.
Oh, why? I blame you for that, by the way.
It's totally her kids.
She allowed it to happen.
Sorry.
I will say though that was pretty quick though.
Yeah. So you can see 5 or 6.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Posts about calls about overdoses, Narcan given, Narcan given, Narcan given, and I'm not gonna quote the amount without saying that this could be wrong. We were told that each one of those shots given are in between $200 and $300 that it costs the city to give those shots. And again, don't quote me on that.
No.
Do your research. I did not look that up.
Of course.
That is what I was told by somebody else.
No.
But even if it's half of that, that's.
I was gonna say we know it's
and
an
for what? They get up
expense,
and they walk away.
and then they go do the exact same
and
thing
they go
again.
do the exact same thing. You're looking it up.
Yes.
Perfect. And then what's hard about that is some of these guys, girls who are getting it 2 or 3 times a day.
Jeez.
And we've talked to a lot of people out there, and they're mad when they get Narcan because you ruin their high.
Exactly.
And so they just get up and they go do it again.
Okay,
find
gonna go
another
find it
spot,
again, yeah.
And then almost die and almost get, and have to be called on again. And then you go into the hospitals. And this is a personal experience. Going into the hospital and waiting over 14 hours for heart problems, and you can't because the beds are full, and the nurses are talking about how many ODs are on the gurneys back there.
Wow.
Not dead, obviously, but people they're taking care of who have overdosed.
Sure.
And so it's so hard because that's a choice. Heart problems are not.
Right.
And when you are waiting in there for 14 hours.
You've kind of touched on something too that I think about sometimes, and that is when you use the word choice. I mean, obviously, that whole situation is such a multifaceted
It is.
problem, but when you go to try to solve it, I feel like you have to unravel it layer by layer
You do.
because there's not one size fits all solution. There's just not. And
No.
so for the folks that are out there choosing it, they don't want to be helped. They're living the life that they want to live. And I'm not saying this is everybody, but there's definitely some folks like that.
Yeah, and I think there's the other coin of that where there's a lot of people who are addicts who don't want to be, but chemical dependency is very real.
Yes.
And, I have extended family who are addicts, and you watch them and they come down and they cry and they say they're sorry. And when there's that in between of not being high and being high and realizing what you're doing to yourself, what you're doing to your family, there's actual sadness and repentance and
Oh, yeah.
wanting to change, and then that dependency kind of starts kicking in, and all of those things just get muddled and foggy, and your reason for doing it is not as important or as high as needing that hit of chemical dependency again. So I say choice, but it actually, there's, like you said, there's a lot more to that.
There is. And I think the thing that's so insidious about chemical dependency, you'll hear about people who get like their 9-year chip at AA, and then they will have something happen and they'll turn back to it. And it's just like, you're never out of the woods, right? I mean, you can work so hard and do your best and really care about what you're doing, and one weekend can destroy the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard. It's really hard.
It's like alcoholism. They say you're an alcoholic for
life. Yep.
Yeah, and it's something that it's forever. It's something that you just can never break. And we've heard stories just that we hope that somebody will one day speak on here that's firsthand, but where it's people that have been clean for years, and then one day they will just relapse, and it's like it's a dependency that just comes and gnarls its head, and it's just, there's various groups. There's a couple of really amazing groups of people that follow, specifically Portland. They do a lot of following the homeless there and the drug addiction down there, and I've been watching them, and one of them is, they'll go up and they'll do these interviews with like a woman that she's a prostitute and she's like, they said, how many tricks do you pull a day? And the woman goes, sometimes I'll go and it'll be fine, I'll have enough cash saves that I don't have to do tricks for a little while, and then I'll run out of money, and then I'll just have to do a bunch of tricks to raise up the money again. And because she'll have to continue that high to keep it going. And it's just, you hear it, and it's like, but to keep that stable, infiltrate of it, and it's sad.
Yeah, I can't even comprehend that.
That's what you live your life for.
Yeah.
So you said you were there from 23 to 25-ish.
Yes.
How many times do you think that you saw people, maybe not even just as unresponsive as that person, but I mean, was it daily? I mean, what was your daily life like working on Sprague and Howard?
My daily life typically started with me arriving at work between 8 and 8:30, and there being homeless people sleeping in all the alcoves of our tenant spaces on the ground level. And I would have to walk around and ask them to leave, and I was very polite about it for the most part, and a lot of them appreciated that. I had comments like, well, hey, at least you're nice about it, I think the worst part of this whole thing is I have always felt empathy and sympathetic toward folks who are unhoused. You don't know how they got there. You don't know what their life is. It's got to be awful when you're out there in the elements all the time, and it is sad.
And what we learned, I don't know if it's posted yet, but we did the last week we went around and talked to homeless people under the bridge. A lot of people wouldn't talk to us, and that's fine. But a lot of people did, and the resounding answer of we'd rather be on the streets than in shelters. We feel safer on the streets. We choose to be on the streets. Would you like to go home? Like what, so a lot of them did want to go home that did not come from Spokane or did not live in Spokane. But that's shocking to me.
Oh, yeah. Well, all of this, it all fits together in this horrific puzzle.
Right.
So, when you talk about wanting to go home, my wife actually works for a call center for folks who are having mental issues to call in, and, they try to help. Obviously, they have the training, but she calls that relocation therapy, and it's a very common thing. Well, we don't know how to deal with this, so we'll just put you all on a bus and send you somewhere else. And it's kind of disgusting. It's like shipping cattle around,
They get shipped here.
Sure, but we ship them somewhere else sometimes too.
We do?
They're on like a giant cycle. They get shipped around different cities. It's pretty consistent.
That's
awful.
Yeah.
It is. But here's the thing that I find the worst out of all the things, and that is I walked into that job and I was like, I can think of solutions. I can go talk to the city council. I can work on this and that. I have ideas. And I tried to do those things, and I didn't really get very far. When I spoke to the city council, their response was lukewarm, but all the people that were in there watching, they were the ones who wanted to come talk to me after that. They were like, we liked what you had to say. Come join our group. Well, I can't join all the groups. There were a number of them, but you feel like, okay, I know this is complicated, but also you're in that city council position because your job is to unravel complicated problems. Why aren't we making enough progress here?
Right.
And the last thing I'll say before we move forward is I walked in bright-eyed, empathetic. I love people. I just do. And boy, by the end of it, I started feeling like they were actively trying to destroy our businesses. Somebody would break a window and I would be mad at everybody. I lost a lot of what makes me a decent human while doing that job. I didn't start going outside with a bat or a broom or something, but I was so frustrated all the time because there was never any way to push back this wave of violence and people screaming in front of your building and people sleeping and urinating in your alcoves and all the things that started to feel like they were targeting our building when in fact they were just doing what they do. But as the person responsible for that building, I grew a lot less sympathetic.
Go ahead.
So our idea behind this podcast has been to make a platform for Switzerland and making this a space that we can set down the Republican versus Democrat, because city council is supposed to be nonpartisan. And how can we bring together both parties as business owners, as people, as humans, as Spokane, come together and say, guys, we don't agree with you. You guys aren't working for the people. You guys aren't coming together and actually making changes. You're not making the right changes because we're not seeing it. So how can we come together? Because there's enough of us, if we came together, instead of having all these different groups for the change, why can't we all come together for the change and say, no, we're not doing this anymore, and we're going to demand change. And we all vote for the people that are going to make the changes. You know what I'm saying? And actually get to know our elected officials and actually get to know the officials that will, that can change it, and actually understand the policies they're putting forward, understand the languages of the policies. Does that make sense?
It does.
Because I feel like there's a lot of languages that they're putting in there and they're manipulating the words so people can't even understand them on a general basis. I feel like when I get that, it's never in plain English. There's always the words are manipulated and you can't even understand it anyways. And I feel like a lot of people are feeling that way. I feel like the younger generation doesn't understand the power of their vote. I feel like that they're feeling like the presidential vote is the main one, and they might not even vote. The amount of people that are actually showing up to vote for anything other than president is not there. And so we're missing out on so many people's votes when we need them at the polls. Even though this is a non-political channel, we also really need to come together as people and get change, right?
Yeah, I have to say, this is harder than I thought it would be because everything you guys say sprouts 10 thoughts in my brain, and it's like, okay, I just have to talk a whole lot right now, but no, it's got to be back and forth. I recognize that.
Say some more stuff. Yeah.
Well, okay, so
our goal is to give a voice to the people that don't have a platform to speak. So here you go.
I think that's great, and I'll take it.
Go for it.
So I think a large part of the problem with what you just said is how incredibly divisive politics have become. It's not, you can't sit down anymore with your relative who's a Republican and you're a Democrat or vice versa and expect to have a reasonable discourse that doesn't end in conflict. And
100%.
it's gotten worse and worse, and the people, now it's all name calling,
it's violence.
There's that too.
Violence.
Absolutely.
We forgot how to agree to disagree.
Absolutely.
We feel like our country's going to die on that hill.
And the worst part about that, though, is the ideological differences between the groups, yeah, there's quite a bit, but if you distill it down, most of us want the same things with about 25% or less of different things. And I just think, instead of killing each other over 25%, let's try to get our 75% in line. Let's try to get the things we have in common so that people are actually doing what they're supposed to. Because I got to tell you, from this level all the way up to national, I feel like politicians absolutely work for themselves. The two things that they really want to do are enrich themselves and remain in office. You ask a politician a question and they immediately go into this vague speak that means nothing, says nothing, and when you press them on it, they walk away. I'm sorry, but you know what? They work for us, or they're supposed to. Why are we not holding their feet to the fire?
Exactly.
Yeah, going through all of this stuff when we first emailed the mayor, I should say, when she emailed the mayor, and I jumped after her with a parachute and was like, let's do this thing. And we did the safety on second meeting, and there were councilmen there, and we did have one who stood up, and I'm not going to share their name right now, but
Bingo.
okay, you will.
Wait, did you say bingo? I didn't even know we were playing.
Bingo.
No, I know. I'm just
Okay, I
kidding.
didn't know what we were doing here, what we're allowed to say.
Bingo.
No, phenomenal human. And he got up and he saw the parade of what we live every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Outside, people, there was a gentleman who was butt naked, his testicles, everything in the air, his feet were up in the air, you saw his bottom, you saw everything.
Oh.
And her
We have a
daughter
video.
saw, we do have a video.
Please don't show it to
No,
me.
we won't. It's blurred. It's a good blur. But so her daughter, who's younger, saw all of this.
Oh, wow.
Just pulling up to the place where we work. The council member, one of them, pulls up, and all of a sudden that person has a blanket. But they saw that. So that's how this meeting started.
Jeez.
Then we're sitting there, and within a few minutes, the police chief was going to start talking, and he had to stop because they had to go arrest a woman who literally pulled down her pants and started defecating on our corner, in front of
Behind him.
behind the councilman who was talking at this meeting.
Wow.
We see the cops run out, and then all of a sudden, I mean, like, you look, and there she is, defecating right in front of everybody. Everybody saw it, and and everybody was shocked who doesn't
work here.
And
But the rest
who
of you were
does,
like,
you're
eh.
that's just another day
Absolutely.
on Second and Bernard.
I've cleaned up plenty of that too.
We clean up human feces all the time. We
Yep.
also clean up drug paraphernalia. We see people having sex across the street regularly, doing coke off each other and then having sex.
Yep.
We had a person masturbating against our window to our people fight with our tuxes. People scream at them. They throw things at our windows. They think the tuxes are people, or they literally do, horribly disgusting things to our window. And we have kids that come in this building.
Yes.
And so we did this meeting because enough was enough. And so when we were telling our stories, and I got really animated, I literally had a whole speech and put it down and didn't say a thing that was on my thing. But it became about, like, you guys can change these policies. Because everything that is happening is because somewhere in these policies that are written mean that the police can't do their jobs.
Right.
That they can't go out and arrest these people.
Right.
Or and I'm not talking about people who are sleeping on the streets. I'm talking about the crime, the vandalism,
Yes.
the crude sex acts, all of that. And so then Jonathan Bingle came up and he apologized to us later, where we're like, no, thank you, because he was so emotional that he said, you, he pointed to all the other councilmen. He goes, we can go change this tonight.
Because there was 4 out of the 7 there.
Well, there's your majority, right?
Yep,
So he's
and that's
saying,
what he said. We could go
we
and
can go
change
change
this.
this tonight. Why aren't we? Look at what is happening. What are we doing?
These are the questions.
And so when you're saying that there needs to be accountability, there absolutely does, because they can change things.
Yes.
They won't.
Right.
Why won't you?
That's the question.
Who is that benefiting?
Yeah.
Financially, who is it benefiting that we are a guardian state with not enough resources to absorb all of the people who are coming on these buses?
Well, and to add another layer to that, having recently started my own small business, it is really difficult to get a small business up and running and to become profitable. When you add people hanging outside your storefront, if you have one, and people being intimidated because they're afraid to walk to your building,
Yeah.
you're adding one more layer of difficulty for people who are already fighting as hard as they can to get their business off the ground.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
for what?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I wish I did.
Yeah.
For what? Who does this benefit?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it's not benefiting anybody who's not having appropriate resources, who's not having enough, who's not being made to be accountable to their actions, because yes, there's chemical dependency, but there is a choice behind that as well. And so where is the accountability? Where are all of these things that are, how do we change that? And it's policy. And we saw by doing this meeting and getting loud, and Kathy showed up at all of the city council meetings and spoke, and we invited every councilman in, and she sat down with them and talked to them. And when it came down to vote, it was an election year, and this was a heated topic. So what did you say it was the first?
It was like they'd only had it, I think they said like 2 or 3 times in history or in the last 10 years. It was very rare that 7-0 was the vote. So they didn't come together as a team. So I didn't even know, I'm going to be real with you, I have no idea who was Republican, who was Democrat, because it's supposed to be nonpartisan.
Right.
And so between the two parties, they know who they are. Mm-hmm. So when they go in there, they know who's going to be on which camp and who's going to vote together and who's not.
Sure.
And so it's very uneven, apparently. And so they don't usually agree. And so for them to all agree on one topic and pass this was very, very unusual. Mm-hmm. And they did.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I think the pressure was there that they knew that with election coming up, this is where you were saying, they live for themselves and do things for themselves.
Of course.
We do know a few of them, and I think the majority of that is true. But we do know a couple guys that are in there who see this and they get emotional. They get upset because this should not be happening. This should not be a thing. This should be people coming together for the people, not just the business owners, but for the people on the street, for the partisans that are coming downtown or not coming downtown anymore. Mm-hmm. I mean, what is the percentages of businesses that are closing?
But the other side of it is you look at the addict. Okay, if you have ever walked alongside an addict, mm-hmm. the more you enable, the worse it gets. Mm-hmm. If you are going to have compassion on an addict, you can't enable. You have to make them uncomfortable.
Yeah. It's got to be more of a tough love situation.
Yes, and it doesn't mean that you're mean to them. It doesn't mean that you are angry at them. No, you actually cut them off. You actually have to say, no, we're not going to facilitate this. We're going to make you uncomfortable in your addiction. Yeah. We're not going to give you clean needles. Guess what? We're not going to do that.
Right. I mean, when you're supplying the materials to continue the behavior, it's basically saying, we approve of this, go for it.
They're trying to pass, in Olympia, they're trying to start making clean heroin so that it's harm reduction. So that Washington State now does clean heroin so that they don't get dirty, contaminated heroin.
With fentanyl.
That is ridiculous. It's mind-blowing.
How is harm reduction used to be that? You reduce harm by stopping the problem. Now it's, well, let's let them have the problem, but we'll just make it a little cleaner.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, this is where things get a little bit out of control. I mean, I feel like, so when we talk about political parties, I feel like one party talks really tough and the other one talks about, oh, well, let's try to make a solution that makes everybody happy and da-da-da. And reality needs to be somewhere in between. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes we need to shut the faucet off and say, no, that's it.
Yeah.
And then there's other times when you have to try to figure out how to help. But the help thing has gotten ridiculous. It really has. And
it's become enablement, not help, because giving someone clean drugs versus just helping them get clean is actually not helping them.
No.
And walking along addicts is very personal for both of us. It's not just something we're talking about that we have no experience in.
Yeah.
It's very personal.
Yeah.
And when you talk to an addict after they are clean or when they are clean, the thing that is resounding is that they got clean because they were uncomfortable in their addiction. It wasn't easy to continue the addiction. They lost relationships because of their addiction. They lost housing. They lost, everything. Because the people in their lives said, no.
Yeah.
Because I love you, this is done. We are done enabling and helping you in your addiction. We will help you get out of your addiction, but helping your addiction is actually not compassion. It is not love.
Right. Yeah.
You are now a part of the problem. You are now a part of their addiction.
You're helping them harm themselves. That is not love.
That's not harm reduction.
One of the policies that they're really working on right now, there's a group of people that they've been really working on passing. It's called the MOO. And what the thing is it's pushing for treatment first. And, the state has always been housing first. And they're saying housing doesn't work first. You can't do that first because they need the treatment first. And if you go out and actually talk to the addicts on the street, they go, if you give us housing first, there's too many strings attached. We don't want it.
Right.
We actually don't want it.
It's unsafe. There's more
I was
drugs.
just going to say, unsafe is key. A lot of people don't realize how dangerous and unpleasant some of those places get.
They said when it gets dark and some of the workers go home.
Yep.
And we get stolen from, we get raped, we get in trouble if we say that there's a problem.
Yes.
Jumped. All of these things, guys talking about also being in danger from other gentlemen. And you know what is also what was said off camera is that we know exactly which living places, so the words just went out of my mind. The places that are given
the shelters,
the shelters, but also the places where they're set up to live.
Right.
They know which ones that they can go to get every single drug on the market.
Jeez.
So you want this? Oh, this is the shelter that you can get that at.
Oh, great. So
You
like
get
different
this,
supermarkets
and
having a special.
And I have talked to someone who works and volunteers at shelters. They were shocked. What? Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
People who volunteer
They need to
there,
open their eyes.
So who knows? Like, again, that is coming from addicts. That is coming from people, because we are out on the street more than just behind the camera. We actually do talk to people when we're having them move. Hey, you really need to move. And we ask them, how'd you get here? What are you doing? And we talk to them. We give them water. There was a guy we had to call 911 a couple times. He was like passed out over our railing.
Oh.
And I was like under there like, hello, are you okay? Here's water. I want you to drink it right now. I called somebody for you. And I asked him, and he said, I can't go to the shelter. And I said, why? And he goes, because I can't do what I want there. Well,
And what
do
you
mean
want to
by
do
that?
is
that-
fold yourself
and he
over our
says,
railing.
And if I go, I'll get in trouble because I talk too much. And I said, what do you mean? It's like, well, if I complain about anything, we get in trouble. And then we can't stay there. But I know I can go get my meal in a little bit. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to stay here while this passes.
I have to tell you that, first of all, that's really sobering because, a lot of us are out there going, oh, well, if you don't just get them into shelters, well, that doesn't solve everything.
No, and that's what she's saying. You have to get them in treatment. They want to be in treatment. But I know from my addict family, a relative, an extended relative, they were forced, first of all, they were jailed for how many times they broke the law. And they were put in prison for a year because they had broken the law so many times based on their addiction. Things that they had done during their addiction.
Right.
And it allowed them to get clean because they went to a place that actually monitors it and doesn't allow more in. So they were forced to get clean because they, by law, were in that facility and had to stay there because they were a danger to society.
Right.
So he got clean and he had help for 3 years, I think they were sober. And then the help stopped because...
And then the sobriety stopped.
And then something happened. His wife left.
Yeah.
Who was an addict.
Well, it's almost always a trigger at that point, I think.
It was triggered, but the point is the follow through with help stopped.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, where are the resources to help every single person for the rest of their lives? And that was his choice too. He chose to stop going to AA.
Sure.
He chose to stop getting help, and he wouldn't let family help him. Period. My parents tried and tried and tried, and it was horrible that he went back to that. And now the doctor said, if you keep doing this, you're not going to live for another year. And he's still choosing
It
that.
doesn't, yeah,
But the
that
thing
doesn't stop
changed
anything.
for him to begin with was the forced help.
Right. Right. Well, I think you do what you can as long as you can, and then it's kind of up to them. And I recognize that that's not a forever solution, but it's something.
Yeah.
One thing that I brought up to the city council when I went down there and talked to them, so just to give you an idea, I don't think that this is a brilliant idea. I'm sure it's not original, but I will say at least I was trying.
Yeah.
So I went down there and I said, well, you know, there are some really big, powerful land developers here that build and, you know, have all the money or whatever. I thought, what if you incentivized them to build, you know, or use a building and convert it or whatever, a shelter that had staffing 24/7 that could resolve or prevent most of these problems. I thought maybe if you did that, maybe you could give them like incentive for their next project or something to reduce costs, or give them a particular site that they wanted or something, because I'm sorry, it's capitalism here. Nobody's going to go do that out of the kindness of their heart,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
Oh yeah, I built this and I'm dumping money into it for staffing 24/7. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But I thought if you could come up with an incentive that profited them enough and still was a benefit to everybody, maybe that would be something. But no real response, obviously.
Right.
So
Well, we can't even keep the jail staffed enough to, I mean, I don't know the current open beds, but at the meeting, it was 178 is what somebody said again.
inmates or
Empty
No, open
beds.
beds.
oh, empty beds.
Because they're always in red light, because if there's a situation, they don't have enough people to bring in.
They had
people.
cops in line for days.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like the cars were lined up, and so they would take shifts in the cars.
Oh. Wow.
And then they just get released away.
Jeez.
So that's a great idea. We need to start with the jails too. Okay.
Yeah.
And the accountability with that too. Okay, so where are you dumping your money? When you look at all of these things, I was talking to my brother-in-law who's very political, and he spends a lot of time reading and researching so that his information is founded. And so we were talking about it over Christmas, and he said, you know, you look at all of these things, and at the root of all of these things, someone is benefiting financially.
That's why you kept asking that question, and I still don't know who it is
I don't know either.
regarding leaving things with the status quo. I
Yeah.
don't know who does benefit from that, but maybe that's what we need to find out.
Yeah. Who's benefiting
If you follow
from
the
this-
money,
Yeah.
that's what we found is
Yeah,
that
That's
it's
always the
root-
case.
The root
Yeah.
of all evil. That's
Yes.
such a cliche thing, but
And yet,
yeah.
so.
yeah, it's a very frustrating situation, and I
Yeah.
mean, people have been talking about this just like we are for God knows how long, and yet we
On
don't
repeat.
seem to be getting anywhere. So
Yeah.
Well,
something's got to change.
hopefully this helps.
I hope so.
I
Yeah.
don't know. We don't know what it's gonna do. We don't know where it's gonna lead, but
Yeah.
Well, I think you do what you can.
Yeah.
And hopefully other people do what they can. I mean, it's funny, on the one hand, you think about it, and we're all little people, you know.
Yeah.
None of us are rich, none of us are politically powerful, none of that. But our numbers are powerful, and if we
Exactly.
could somehow harness that in a consistent manner,
and
change could be affected.
Exactly.
and in the right way. We're not gonna go and
start-
obstruct justice.
start
and stand
burning
in front of
buildings and
cars,
stuff,
like,
yeah.
It's unbelievable what's happening right now. But you know, all we did was had a meeting and invited people there, and thankfully, because we had a councilman who invited, you know, we had the right person just step on board and invite a bunch of people. It was eye-opening. We helped change a policy with one meeting.
Yeah.
And so our encouragement, and then through that, finding out how important your city council actually is. That they're the ones changing the policy.
Yeah.
And to get in there and to educate yourself and to read these policies, to go to the city meetings and ask questions. What do you mean by this? Explain this to me, break it down. You're voting on it, you have a right to know what it means.
Absolutely.
And the previous policy that was written really poorly, and there were lines that had to change to allow the police officers to keep people accountable. And so I guess my encouragement would be for everybody to get to know who your councilmen are and take it seriously.
Yeah.
And don't just read the pamphlets, because they're lies.
Well, and I think it needs to not, just flow one direction.
Yeah.
We don't need to just read and listen to them. They need to listen to us.
Absolutely.
And that means we need to use our voices.
Yeah.
But
I
I
mean-
think that policy changed because they did at that point.
Agreed, but how often does that happen?
Well,
Yeah.
very rarely.
Right.
And
So we need to send
definitely
you to every policy meeting.
not facts.
Right?
Facts.
All right.
Really intimidating.
We've got a plan.
So this is a start. We're trying
Yeah.
something new. So let's see what we can do, right? It's got to start somewhere, right?
Well,
and
and
then just meeting, making these connections of, we started meeting because we were vendors wanting to get to know each other as vendors on a professional level.
Yeah.
And then just being humans, we talked and got to know each other and realized, hey, wait a minute.
you can definitely find intersections just from talking with people. It's like, oh, we both feel this way.
Yeah.
Oh, we both have a problem with that situation. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Well, and Kathy has said many, many times, put down your Democratic or your Republican opinions. Are you okay with how things are? Yes
Right.
or no?
And if anybody's saying yes, I'm a little surprised.
How are you getting money then? What are you
It
getting
was
money from?
Right.
Yeah.
It was so interesting. There is a gal that is a campaign manager, and she's amazing. And one of the things
Fantastic woman.
is she was campaigning for someone on the opposite deal. But she said, yes, we had some difference of opinions, but the deal is that even though some of the top, say some of your opinions differ, they might be things that don't affect anything on our level. They might be some things that don't affect anything on the city level. But the things that matter on the city level could be earth-changing. They could just kill Spokane and just totally make a difference if you guys united. And so it's like how we were talking, like if we're both looking at the same situation and we can all come together and agree on that, say we don't agree on the national level, but we all agree on the city level, why can't we agree and come together? You know what I'm saying? So what does it matter? Okay, yeah, we don't agree on abortion, but guess what? The abortion, that actually is not going to make a difference on this city level.
Right.
So let's set that aside and let's come together because we can all agree on what we need to do in the city of Spokane.
Yes.
Let's do that. And instead of bashing her for supporting somebody like that, let's come together and do what we need to do for this. And so, so when she was telling me that, I was just really sad for her because she was like, but we can do this, so why can't we? And I'm like, absolutely. People are they've got their blinders on so much. It's just incredible. And I'm trying to teach my kids that. I feel like when I was growing up, there was like this pendulum for Democrat versus Republican. And it used to go like this, your presidents would go and it would swing back and forth just slowly like this, lightly. And now we're at this place where this pendulum is completely off and it swings so dramatically from president to president, and it's just off. Where you
It's so
can't,
divisive.
You can't,
Yeah.
there's no middle ground anymore. It just swings dramatically this way, dramatically that way. There's no little middle ground. There's no slight thing where you can come together anymore. It's just dirt in your mouth, right? It's a cuss word to
You
call
against me.
somebody else that name. It's that bad word like you were talking about,
Yeah.
calling people's names this earlier today.
Listen, okay?
How you,
I didn't know it was a bad word.
Anyways, so
Off camera story.
anyways, using words, derogatory words when you don't know they are that. But it's like using that and not realizing it. So, so I just feel like we need to, as the little people, really start working on that and coming back together and pulling back in and changing that, because we have the power to do that. And instead of saying, oh, we don't have power to do anything, our votes don't matter, they do. Okay, so look at even Bingle. I don't care if you were for or against him. The deal is he lost by 150 votes.
But he was up
Think about
before that.
150 people that thought their votes didn't matter.
Absolutely.
150 people went to the thing. That would have changed the outcome. That would have worked for anybody. All I'm saying is that is such a little amount. 150 people is not that many people
No.
when it comes to an election.
It's a block.
That's like a tiny amount of people. So your vote does matter. It really matters on a city level specifically. It's a huge number. So your vote does matter, specifically on the city level. It's a huge deal. It matters all the time. It really does. And people need to stop having that mindset. They need to realize that they do matter. It does count, and it really does count and matter.
The country was founded on that. I mean, the whole idea was, you hear that, and it's a joke, by the people, of the people, for the people. Yeah, that used to mean something. It doesn't necessarily anymore. Right now, like I said, I feel like they're governing for themselves. But who keeps putting them back in office?
We do.
Yeah.
Both the people who support them and the people who are apathetic and decide not to exercise their rights.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
It's a huge problem.
You can't sit back and allow things to continue sliding down this slope and go, well, my vote won't do anything, so I'm not going to bother. This is a problem. We all need to be out there doing that. It's ridiculous. You see the percentages, and it's like, 60% of eligible voters came out. Really? What were the other 40% doing? That's almost half the people who decided it wasn't worth their time to help govern their country.
Well, what's crazy is we found out, too, that people can go to like nursing homes. What was that
They
gig?
could literally, the day of the election, the elected officials or the people that were they were trying to get people to vote for them, could go to people's houses. They would say, hey, have you voted? They'd go, oh, no, I decided not to, or whatever. They could go in and say, please vote for me. They would go in their houses, help them print out a ballot, help them fill it out, and they could take it for them and submit it.
Can you imagine winning that way?
Yeah,
Literally.
I could totally imagine winning that way, actually.
But you think about it, but that's the game they have to play. Whether they respect it or not, they have to do it in Spokane because that's the way the game is played. So it doesn't matter if they respect it or not, because Spokane County allows that, you have to do it, or you will lose. Because you think about it, 150 votes is
How
all he
close
needed.
was that? Yep.
Because that's the way everybody's playing the game. And it's sad that Spokane County, number one, allows that, and that's still a practice here, number one.
It's surprising.
Number two, I had
Sounds
no
like
idea.
something out of the 1800s, right?
Right?
And
Because
I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist, and I'm not getting into those things on here because it's not the platform. But I am, I don't know, one of the people who thought that things were rigged. That, especially with the presidential campaigns where there's always like a recount, we have to recount. Oh, we found this one did it wrong. And, we found that they cheated and this. So how do you trust that, right? But being involved in at least the city level, we have really found that it actually does make a difference. And knowing what you're voting for, the policies that you're voting for, and listening to the flyers you get into the mail is not the way to do it, because we personally know some of these people, and they would show us these flyers and we're just like, is this a joke? I mean, and so to really learn the policies, learn who these people are, they have luncheons all the time on both sides. And you can get to know them. And as obviously the entire city can't do that, but I guess the encouragement would be to learn who you're voting for, because on a city level, at least what we have found, it does make a difference. And your vote and your voice is valid. Maybe not for the presidential, I don't know about that, but citywide, you absolutely can.
I mean, it makes sense. The smaller the area being governed and the less populous, the more each vote actually carries weight.
Yeah.
The other thing is those flyers that show up in your mailbox, that's called marketing. And the whole idea is to get you on their side. So you're absolutely right. You have to find a better way to figure out who you're voting for. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And it is scary. I understand why it's scary, and I understand why people feel that way, is all I mean.
Yeah.
But
well, as we wrap this up today, do you have any closing thoughts or things?
gosh, we could go for like another
I know.
Yeah, hold on. I'm just going to encapsulate all the things we just talked about in a
There's
single
so
summary
much.
statement, right?
You can do it. I believe in you.
I think the things that I take away from this are the power of the people. It's still a thing but we've largely been convinced that it isn't. It's everything's too big and all the money's here. Well, let me tell you something. If we all decided to stop purchasing anything from a particular store or even a large shipping company or whatnot, they would feel it. We have the power if we get together, but if we stay separate, we have no power at all. And that's why we really need to start looking into things like, I don't know, town halls that we could arrange ourselves. We could have speakers from either side of the aisle who can at least speak moderately and reasonably and don't get up there and start frothing at the mouth about the other side.
Yeah.
We need to realize that we are more alike than we are different, and we need to use that.
Definitely. Yeah. So, again, this is Troy from
Mike Master. Thank you so much for having me, you guys. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
It was,
Yeah.
yes, definitely.
For
sure.
A lot of fun. Thank you.
Fair
Look
enough.
forward to
I'll
working
come
with
back
you again.
All right. That sounds good.
All right.
And this is Voices on Second,
Yes.
episode 4. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Please listen, subscribe. It's really important that we are getting those subscribe buttons clicked.
Yes.
Appreciate you listening.